everyone, welcome back to Henry and Co Take On. Tonight it's just me taking on our little video, and I'm off to a book event. I've been invited, really lucky to be invited to this launch event for a book that's written by a lovely author called Evelyn Flood. She writes sort of like romantasy, magical, a bit of spice. So if that's sort of thing that you're into, definitely give her a look up. All her books are on Kindle Unlimited as well. But we are going to the launch party of her new book. There's going to be Q&A, a signing, and a copy of the book. I think there's a little buffet and like some prosecco, some drinks. There's a bar. So yes, join me as I spend the evening with my fellow book talk type people, learning about her new novel. So enjoy. Now I can see the place, but I don't know how to get into it. Looks very posh out here. Very nice little place. It's called the Cuckoo Bar in Cardiff. If you've ever been here before. I'm going to show you around now. So yes, let's find out where to go together, because I'm not sure where the entrance is. Now here's the place. Not sure if the entrance is through here. I think this is just apartments. Yeah, or it's not in there. I'm not sure how to get in. We've got some goodies here from the book. We've got some books. Books over here on my to read list. Oh, is it cute? And we've got a little pen and a little match. They're cute. And I'm going to grab a book now. Got some prosecco going on over here. What is the blue one?
It's just a theme of a book, like
Brill.
it's like blue color. That's fine.
Brill. I just didn't know if it was alcoholic or not.
It's alcoholic.
Brill, thank you. Thank you. So we've got some blue prosecco, normal prosecco.
Some of us get invited to them. We just got told, very jealous. But I thought, how nice would it be to have something similar closer to home? Because, to be fair, this probably isn't the first event, I just didn't get invited, so I was like, I'll just throw my in. Why not? And obviously, Stars Above the Nemesis came out, would be really helpful if I could remember the release date, the end of July. It's been a couple of weeks, and I think this was my 21st book. So it's been a very, very busy couple of years. I've been doing this full time for about 2 years since I left my job and thought I'll give this a go. And it feels like every release gets a little bit more special and a little bit busier. And but there's something about this one that I thought, this is a book that I am very, very proud of, that I put a lot into. It made me cry. All my books made me cry. If you've ever met me, you know that I cry at the drop of a hat. You've probably seen me cry, you've probably seen me in the corner at Rhea crying, probably seen me after a beer crying. But this one was very much I'm going to sit at my dining table, I'm going to write these characters, and all my family walking past going, are you, oh, it's a book, it's fine, she's writing, it's fine. And it happens a lot with this one, to be fair. So I thought, why not have some sort of event? And I thought I'll open it up and see if anybody's interested. And to see so many people here when I really didn't think anybody would come is incredible. So thank you so much for coming, and I look forward to you guys. I'm not going to talk for long, because if I don't stop now, I'll never stop. So we are going to do a little bit of a Q&A. I've primed so many of you, don't let me down. So ask me a question, ask me anything, ask me anything. So we'll do some questions, we'll see how long that lasts, and then the buffet will be up and running. Come and see me, get your book signed, come and have a chat. It is a very chill evening, it is just an evening to meet people, to chat about books, get some nice goodies while you're at it, and just enjoy yourselves. So that's kind of it from me in terms of the monologue. Who's got the microphone? This should be interesting. Has anybody got a question? Oh, there we go, we've got a couple, that's fine. That's fine, I feel better now. Oh, hello. It's exciting, you feel like you're powerful.
Yeah, I do. I might join you up there now. Don't tell me. I know it's kind of recent, but has there been any fan feedback that you've had or like a review that you've seen that's either like surprised you or like you've been taken aback by it?
So there's a lot of authors who don't read their reviews. I'm not one of those.
I don't read
I read them all. I'll never you don't comment. So in the industry there's general, you've probably seen some of the list if you're active on social media, you don't comment on readers' reviews. Ever. And that's a hard rule. I've never done it and I will never ever do it. Doesn't matter how bad it is. But I do look at them. A lot of us do. And mainly it's because it's a really good way to get unedited feedback. They don't have anything to lose. They're just sharing their thoughts with readers. And sometimes reader-to-reader feedback is far more valuable than saying, did you like this book, to people who've already read your books and love them. They've got a vested interest in, they want you to do well. They're going to say, yes, of course I love them. Or they might soften themselves, and that doesn't happen on Goodreads, ever. so yeah, I think I'm used to, so because of the type of books that I write, and if you've read any of my backlists, you'll know I've got quite a varied backlist. I write some reverse harem, they're all romance, but I've written some reverse harem, written some filthy fairy tales, some mafia, some heartbreaking contemporary, so it's been a very mixed bag. I tend to kind of bounce around between what I write, and the reviews probably reflect that, to be fair. Some of those topics, you get people who hate those topics, and then you get people who love those topics, so the reviews kind of reflect that. And with Stars Above the Neversea, what's been really interesting is the depth and the emotion of the reviews that I've seen have been actually quite emotional to read. They've been generally really positive, which I shouldn't be that surprised about, should I? I mean, I'm supposed to do this for a living, they're supposed to be decent. But you always get your ballads scattered in, and actually, surprisingly, the majority of them have been pretty good, and the ones that haven't have been very fair. And there's nothing there that I would disagree with, for the most part. But I think in terms of a review that I've seen, it's just honestly just reading through them sometimes, you see people and you think, wow, they've lost sleep over this book. In fact, there was one where this girl said that she took a day off because she didn't want to stop reading, and I was like, well, that's a nice feeling that somebody actually donated a day's holiday because they couldn't stop reading. I mean, we've probably all done it. I've done it. But, but it was just nice that book was mine. What a lovely feeling to have. So that's probably the one that would stick out, I would say.
That's awesome.
So you only need to ask one question. I'll talk for 45 minutes. So you're fine.
This is quite powerful, I agree. Yeah.
It is, isn't it? You can't.
Who is your favourite character to write? Why is it Callum?
I love that. Who is my favourite character to write, and why is it Callan? Callan Edgeborn. I mean, who wouldn't enjoy writing Callan Edgeborn, to be fair? He's a very lovely man. In terms of Stars Above the Neversea, I was just talking to the girls about this actually. My love for the found family trope knows no bounds. So I love found family. I look for it in my books. A decent found family to me is worth a 5-star every single time. And in terms of Stars Above the Neversea, I was actually just saying, I couldn't remember who came to me first, but I think it was Sol and Mateus, who were the side characters, were actually the first ones that came into my head before Cillian and Callan even existed. And it's interesting how that happens sometimes. So I'll be thinking, normally it's scenes that come into my head first. And because I don't see pictures in my head, so it's very much sing. It's a crew. It's surprisingly common, I think. But it does make, when you're writing sometimes, description can be quite hard. So what I tend to write first is the vibes, the scenes, and I very much focus on the way the scenes make me feel, rather than how I see them, because my books don't look like a movie in my head. I don't see anything in my head, which I'm actually quite upset about, because I've only recently found out people see actual movies in their head.
Isn't it infuriating? I'm infuriated.
I feel really shortchanged in my reading career. No wonder I look for the vibes. I'm like, if a book makes me cry, it's done its job, because I you know, if it doesn't make me feel it, doesn't touch me that much, because I'm not seeing the pictures that go with it. So with Stars with an MC, Sol and Mateus, their relationship kind of came in first, and Solomon is this kind of very grumpy, kind of more than what he seems, I think, in terms of, you think he's a bit of an arse at first, and then he's got hidden depths, as so many of them do. And then of course you've got Mateus, who was just an absolute joy to write. Anytime he came on the page, I was like, I'm really, this scene is, some of the things that I had to remove during edits, he was an X-rated character. I was like, wow, this, you can't say things like that, let's just take that out. That's really bad. Really bad. I might actually upload some of them to the website when it goes live, just because they're hiding on my laptop, and it's a real shame. They didn't belong in the book. My editor was right, they were filthy. To be fair, I feel like he deserves to have his jokes heard, because they were very good. So I would definitely say, in terms of the writing, probably Mateus was the most fun, but Cameron Edgeworth was definitely a very close second. Oh, this could be quick. Oh. George, get the buffet ready.
Is this thing on? Can you give us an expert of one of these X-rated sections?
Has anyone got a whiteboard?
The diagrams?
If anyone's ever seen me draw a peen at a signing event, they're not very good. Sorry.
I was going to ask who your favourite character was that you've ever written, but have you, out of all of the books that you've written, have you got like your all-time favourite scene, or your favourite moment? Like, if you could pick one, what one would it be?
Oh, that's a hard one. There's probably quite a few. I've always been really attached to, if anybody's read my Crows series, Murder of Crows, Mayhem of Crows, there is a scene where Katharina gets buried underground. And that scene has always lingered in my head, just because I was such a wreck when I was writing it. I just come out of watching, it was very heavily inspired by a TV show, I can't remember what the TV show was. I don't know if anybody's seen it. Police officer, she gets buried underground.
Is it Bones?
I don't think it's Bones, I feel like it's like an American show.
Kill Bill, she does, doesn't she?
I've never seen it.
Oh, spoiler.
Damn it, we were doing so well. But that's a scene, to be fair, that stuck with me for quite a long time, because it was quite difficult to write, just because of her emotions and what she was feeling. Yeah, it does sink into you. You're putting yourself inside somebody else's head, and you're imagining how it will feel. So it can make, sometimes you have to take a break, you know, you kind of have to step away and go touch some grass and have a really big glass of wine. You know, so there was that scene, and probably a lot of the first half of When I Was Theirs, if anybody's read that. So that for me was definitely my most emotional book. So Ben Bennett and his brother Jared and their journey, and Annie and what they go through is quite difficult. You know, there's a lot of things that people will recognise in terms of illness and whatnot. So that was a hard one to write, probably because it reflected most accurately against kind of real life experiences. So that was a tough one. But they're the ones that probably stick out. I picked all the bad ones. Have I got any good? Can anybody think of anything good that's happening?
A happy one, yeah.
We could just stand here for 10 minutes while I think of one, that's fine, we've got time. But no, I'd say definitely, it's definitely the more emotional ones that stick out to me, 100%.
Anybody else?
Hello.
Hello.
So when you were plotting, did you...
What plot?
Start with another thing. Did you know how it was going to end, or did you just think about how you could make us cry in the worst way possible?
So I knew how it was going to end very early on. I do plot. I was joking. I do actually plot. You can't not really with books like this, but it is very high level. Like I tend to just, I'm too impatient to write to spend a lot of time in a plotting document, so I tend to just throw in this happens here, this happens here, this happens here, and the rest will fix itself when I get to it. That's fine. And then, so if you spot any plot holes, as I was saying, it's fine. They're all going to be fixed in the next one. But I think, I mean, when I'm plotting, I knew how it was going to end, maybe because I know how the series is going to end. So there's certain things that have to happen at certain points for the series to end the way that I want it to. So those are definitely in there. So that's kind of what made my high-level plot points. And then I wrote an awful lot about Matthias, and I wrote a lot about Callan. Through Celine and the characters just kind of built themselves really, and then I started writing. A lot of it came as I was writing, as does happen. I mean, I write between 10 to 20,000 a day. That is, I'm a fast writer and I am a big writer. And then when it's done, I'll kind of curl up in a ball and I won't write anything for months. That's kind of how it works. You know, I'm either writing or I'm not. When I'm not writing, you see me out in public, and when I'm writing, you don't see me for days and everybody thinks I'm dead. So, girls are nodding, they get it, they're like, yeah, are you alive, Evelyn? We haven't heard of you. But yeah, so in terms of writing, that's kind of how it works for me really. It's kind of bits and pieces, and I fill the rest in as I go along. Just because that's part of the fun, I think, of writing, is not knowing exactly what's going to happen. I'm like, no, I know how it ends. And then the fun is, how do we get there? Oh, we found our stride now. This is beautiful.
Hi, I'm new Future fan here. So what would you be able to tell us about your story if we haven't read it? And also, how did you come about this idea of writing this book in particular?
Don't ask me to describe my own story. It is the worst. I will sound like a bingo caller when I say this, because it's kind of like really ill. So if you haven't read it, Stars But the Never See is a fantasy romance where Selena Maris, who is our FMC, you meet her after 10 years spent locked away, shall we say. Her magic's been bound, her wings have been bound, she hasn't been able to fly, she's been in terrible conditions. And she finds herself on a ship, sailing back to her homeland under the direction of one Captain Callan Edgeborn. And I don't know if anybody's ever seen Peter Pan. So loosely inspired Hook and Tinkerbell, with a little bit of Anya and Dimitri from Anastasia, because I love those two. That is a dynamic that I adore. I was a Disney brat through and through, in case nobody ever noticed. So they find themselves on the same ship. Callan has his own magus. It's very dangerous. Bad things happen to him when he uses it, as happens to all of them, because there's a curse over them, which was laid by a goddess very angry at what happened to Selene and her people 10 years before. So the gist of the story is them travelling back to her homeland, what happens when they get there, what kind of reception they receive, and they just find themselves kind of lost into something that they didn't expect, really, on many, many fronts. And I'll leave it open because there's a hell of a cliffhanger, so we're not that far off the second one, it's fine. I've definitely started writing it. I write really fast, we're fine. Nobody panic. I know how it's going to end. But yeah.
So how did you come up with this?
I get a lot of ideas from... I'm terrible for just sitting down with a notepad and pen, so I don't watch a lot of TV actually, I'm not really a TV person, but sometimes I watch box sets, that kind of thing, so I tend to kind of tune out. I'll have a pad and pen and I just kind of start doodling. Music for me is a massive one, so I listen to a lot of music, and it's quite often, as I said, I don't see pictures, but what I do kind of get, it's almost like words really, I kind of get scene ideas, and it's normally the scenes that come first, and the characters come later. So with Stars But the Never See, I saw kind of Matthias coming on board the ship, and kind of, you know, I was like, oh, he feels like a nice character, you know, what's going to happen there? And then I saw Celine jumping off the side of the ship. Where am I spoiling? I'm going to go into spoiler territory, I need to be careful. But I saw kind of all these different scenes, and then they kind of started building together. Then I went on to artwork, so I find it really hard to commission art. Like I said, I can't really see them in my head, so it's very much kind of, my artists hate me. They hate to see me coming because they're like, oh god, it's her, she doesn't know what she wants, she just talks about vibes and weird things. But we got there, it was fine. So then I got the artwork made up, which really helped. So I thought, now I've got a visual, I can kind of build a storyline around that. And that's what I did. And then at some point I thought, bloody hell, I've got an actual book here. Which, considering I love fantasy romance, it's probably the genre that I read most. And it's a genre that I never thought I'd write, mainly because of the visual aspects, in terms of it's really hard to write descriptively and to write as you need to for a fantasy book when you can't see what's happening. So yeah, so that's kind of how it came about, really. Hopefully that makes sense, some sort of sense. There's a queue, a chant. Hello.
I have two questions. I'm going to try not to give spoilers, so I'm not going to name names, but Mama and Papa Celine, are we going to get their backstory? Because that really intrigued me, and obviously it came kind of last minute, and I love them.
I love how you tried so hard not to give spoilers. That was well done. You did far better than I would. I would have just blurted it out. I think I would love to write that particular story. I don't think it would make enough for it to be a book. But potentially some bonus content. There may already be some substantial notes lying around which do, because you have to kind of build that up before you put it in, so you kind of know what you're working with. So there is in existence already some things that could probably very easily become bonus content, which I'd be more than willing to.
Yes, please.
We'll do that.
And second question, I have a feeling we haven't seen the full extent of Celine's powers. Would that be a correct assumption? Is there more to come that we are yet to find out?
I can neither confirm or deny. Somebody just mentioned cookie tapping. We've got two more books. It's a trilogy. It is a trilogy. If it ever gets picked up and they spread it out to 5, you just hold me to account because it's supposed to be a trilogy. But there is a lot more to see and a lot more to say. And I need to stop talking now because I'm going to say it all. Otherwise,
I tried.
Feed me Prosecco and catch me in the corner later.
Sorry, this is far less serious. If there was a massive storm, would it better to be on the normal sea or the never sea?
There are some really confused people in this room right now. We haven't read the book yet. So in Stars Above the Never Sea, the Never Sea is there was a very angry goddess who flipped the world around. So when you're on the Never Sea, your water is above your head, and the sea is made of starlight, and if you fall off the ship, you're buggered because you're never going to land on anything, you're just going to fall. So if there was a storm... I mean, I wouldn't really want to be on the Never Sea in a storm, I don't think. I feel like it would be really bad, you know, tornadoes from the sky and... tornadoes? Twisters? Sharks. Yes, sharks falling from the sea. I'm trying to be really serious about this question, but I just thought, yeah.
It's okay, it's not a serious question.
We'll go with the Never Sea.
Thank you.
It's fine. It's fine.
My first question is, was the scene you're thinking about tricky?
Yes, it was. 10 points to Gryffindor! I'm sorry, I don't actually read that series anymore, but that was the first line that popped into my head.
I owe that one to my partner. Secondly, you have a fair few content warnings at the beginning of your book.
Yes.
And I'm curious how you cope with what you write and how you protect yourself.
You don't want to see the inside of my head. No, I mean, I've kind of touched on it. I think that I always put content warnings. I'm quite serious about content warnings. I think if you don't care about them, then they're not for you. That's kind of my view on them. A lot of people don't care. Great, they're not for you, so just skip past them. But the people who do care, they're worth putting in for, so I try to be quite thorough. Sometimes people will read my content warnings back to me and I'm like, that sounds like a pretty... Good God, who wrote that? And then when you actually read it, it's not, it's not as detailed as you might imagine just from reading that. So I try to kind of level it by saying, it's quite light touch, or it's in depth, or it's on page, or it's off page. But when, there are things that make it into some of my books particularly that can be quite difficult to write. And like I said, it's one of those where you take a breath, you take time out. Crying is very cathartic, I highly recommend it. Put some emotional, angsty music on. It's fine. There were quite a lot of scenes in Stars But Never See that I played that song from Epic over and over again, like a really angsty 90s goth girl in the corner, just kind of crying my eyes out. But that's kind of how I get through, really, is music and taking breaks when you need it. And to be fair, I like writing emotional stuff. That is what kind of keeps me going, I think. I find a lot of relief in terms of writing things that make people feel. That is my company, I suppose you would say, so I have no plans to stop doing that. There are so many more things that I can put onto paper. Just warning you all now. But yeah.
I just also wanted to say that that's like my whole jam. So I just wanted to sort of see how you look after yourself, but also to say that they're really well written. So.
Thank you very much. No, thank you.
I'm going to caveat this with, I'm a really new reader, but I read a lot, so I do it for a living. Your books are very captivating, and romance fantasy is a very saturated space. It's a very challenging thing to find a story that's very evocative. Now, I'm one of the lucky people. I find it very easy to create pictures in my mind when I'm reading, or even just out and about. So I guess maybe this is a slightly different question for you, but when you're writing, how do you decide what is influence and what actually feels authentic to your world and your characters?
That is a really good question. I think I could talk about this till the cows come home. I used to be a bookseller, I used to work for Waterstones, and fantasy romance was my jam back in 2008, 2009, which is probably where I was at my peak of Waterstones era. Loving life in the children's section, the YA section, the paranormal romance section, which they've never been the same since, every time I go in there. I'm not sure I agree that romancy or fantasy romance, I could talk at length about the differences between those two as well, but I think it's easy to assume that a genre is saturated when all you see are the same 20 books, because that is what you are seeing in terms of social media, and I think it's very easy to assume that. I think that there is as much room in fantasy romance as there is in any other genre, and there are some phenomenal books. What happens inevitably with every genre that sees a peak, we saw it with dystopian, we've seen it with YA, one flies and the others follow, like lemmings off a cliff. That's not a criticism. Some of those followings are phenomenal, some of them are better than the originals. But I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. You're always going to have trends in books and trends in reading. They ebb and they flow. This feels like a very, very big one because of social media. BookTok is such a big thing. And our favourite BookTokers are talking about a lot of the same books, which one of them talks, the others talk, and it just happens. And I don't think there's anything necessary to be done for that. I don't think there's anything we can do to fix it, because the algorithm, the way that the algorithm works on social media is that even the people who are talking about those other books, and they are there's so many brilliant content creators on TikTok and Bookstagram who are talking about these other books, it doesn't get the same airtime because once a tag picks up, the tag flies, and therefore that gets the visibility. So I think in terms of influence, I read prolifically. I would say, like I said, I don't watch much telly. I do read a lot. I tend to read a lot of older stuff. I probably haven't read that many. I mean, I have. I've read Fourth Wing. I've read Akatar. The biggies. I have read those. There's a lot of common tropes, and I think we talk about shadow daddies, that sort of thing. That's a vibe, isn't it? Everyone loves a shadow daddy. I love a shadow daddy. Yes, I'd crawl for Satan Real, so who wouldn't? But it's one of those where ultimately, if I felt like I could write a great Shadow Daddy and that's what came into my head, I would write one, and I wouldn't care whether or not it'd been done 20 times before, because none of them will do it the same as me. And if they have, shit. Back to the drawing board. But I think that's the thing. I think all of these books are popular because they are written. It's easy to say that they look the same and they sound the same, but really are they? If you analyse them a literary level, they're actually not the same. It's very easy to say that because that's what's popular right now. And as you said, you see that visibility. With that comes an assumption that it's the same 5 tropes over and over again. It's really not. That's just what's trending right now. But there are so many phenomenal books within the genre that aren't like that. And just from a writing perspective, I think the more you read, the less likely it is that you get influenced by that, I would say. And I was quite passionate that Celine had the shadow magic and Callum would be the one that crawled. So there we go.
Thank you.
Sorry, I can talk about that at length. I was pacing myself. I was like, do not.
Hello.
Hello.
You talk a lot about music. What particular artists inspire you?
Oh, that's a good one. It's a good one and a really hard one because my memory for names is atrocious. I could like hum you some song. I mean, somebody just went singing. I was like, do not do that to me. Because I will. Which will surprise nobody at all. You know, I wrote Forbidden Fairy Tales that was loosely, don't sue me, Disney, you're probably in here somewhere, based on some of our favourite fairy tales, which were definitely not Disney. They originated many, many years ago. With that comes a penchant for listening to the relevant music that goes alongside it. I went to the Hunchback of Notre Dame live in London on Sunday night, which was, I can honestly say, a highlight of my entire life. So I get very motivated by emotional music, and I think music like that, I don't know if anybody's not Hunchback of Notre Dame. There were some issues with the production, but the overall soundtrack is a beautiful one, developed by Alan Menken. And I absolutely loved it. And I came out of that, all I wanted to do was write. And my friend was like, no, we have to go get drunk. And I was like, yeah, okay. How do we do that? I said, fine. So we did that. But it's things like that, and going to shows like that, and seeing, there's so many different artists I could think of. I mean, I went to see Muse last year, and that had the same effect. So you combine Muse and Hunchback of Notre Dame, it doesn't really seem like a good vibe. I'm going to see Reef in October, if anybody knows Reef. Love Reef. So there's, you know, my taste is very random. If you flip through my Spotify, you'd be like, I don't know who this person is. Which probably sums up my books as well, to be honest. So yeah, it could be anything, to be fair.
Okay, and then the second small question is, when you have a favorite author, you sometimes wonder who your favorite author's favorite author is.
Ooh. I remember being asked this question when I applied for the job at Waterstones, and I didn't get the job. The first time. They gave it to somebody who'd worked there before. I was furious. And then they rang me like 2 weeks later and they were like, yeah, would you like a job? Because we've got another one. I was like, yeah, okay, I can sack a best, it's fine. So, in terms of kind of genre or recognisable names, I will never not adore Nalini Singh. I'm a big Nalini Singh fan, if anybody's read her Side Changeling, but those books are comfort reads for me. Maria Snyder is a comfort read for me. There are many, many kind of older books. Has anybody read The Looking Glass Walls by Frank Bedder? I love that book. I know it's a YA, I still go back and I read that book. My taste in books is probably as random as my taste in music, to be fair. And yeah, to be fair, there's not... Favourites is hard because I read so much all the time, but the ones that I go back to tend to be old favourites rather than new. You probably won't find anything released in the last kind of 5 years or so on my top 10 list. My actual favourite series of all time is really niche because she's a Welsh author, and it became my favourite series when I was in comp, about year 7 or 8, and I won a writing competition in like year 7 for this local author who was coming in called Jenny O'Sullivan. We're all Welsh. Has anybody actually heard of Jenny O'Sullivan? This might be the group. If there's ever going to be any group in my career that knows her, it's probably going to be this one. She was a local author. She wrote a kind of Welsh-based mythology, fantasy, romance trilogy, but YA. The Island of Summer, Gwydion, Dragonborn, no. So, anyway. She was amazing, to be fair. She was very kind, so I tracked her down a couple of years ago because I lost access to the books when I left school. I'm sorry! I basically tracked her down and I was like, I love these books. I haven't been able to read them, and she was kind enough to send me copies, so now I have my very own print copies. So, to be fair, that's probably one that I would name. But yeah.
You've talked so much, you've...
I talked so much that we got to sleep. I'm relying on the girls to tell me just to shut up when it's time for...
Oh, it's 25 past.
5 minutes short? Yeah, there we go. This is flawless, look at this. We've got time for one or two more maybe? Any more? Not that you can't ask me a question if you... I mean, we're all in the same room, you can just kind of like pin me down.
Hello.
Hello.
First of all, my first question is, where do you get the audacity, Evelyn?
Alcohol.
Bad morals.
And just very quickly, I wanted to thank you for When I Was Theirs. I'm thanking you because of how you wrote that book. It was, it came out when I was going through something fairly similar, and I was quite scared of reading it, and actually it was one of the most cathartic reads at that time for me, so yeah, thank you very much.
You are very welcome. I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry either. No one has to allowed to cry.
What has been your favourite read of this year?
In terms of new, like, I reread a lot, so a lot of my
No
reads are older.
rereads.
If it was no rereads, it was probably The Night and the Moth. I loved that book. I loved that book. That was Rachel Gillick is my cup of tea. Like in a, you know, I just think she writes atmospheric, she writes gothic, she writes beautifully. Like her prose is amazing. I aspire to be Rachel Gillick when I grow up. But I just loved Sybil and Rory, like that whole Bartholomew. It's just, I mean, that sold it, to be fair. He's a really cute gargoyle with a tragic backstory. I'm done. Sold 5 stars. But yeah, that was probably my top read of the year. In terms of new books. There we go. I think. Go on.
This is quite similar to the music question, but if you had to pick one song for your 2 main characters for your new release, what songs would you pick for them? One song each.
One song each. I really should know the answer to this. I've got a whole playlist that I've built for tonight that is based on these characters. And yet, mine, like I said, I think for... I'm trying to remember the name of them. What's the name? Is it Lana Del Rey for Celine? I want to say. What's the lyrics? It's like, "Dear Lord, when I get to heaven, let me take my man." That one.
Sing it.
Don't push me because I will. Nobody wants to hear that. So that one for Celine, and then for Callan, I've been listening to a lot of Alex Warren. I think you can't avoid it, really. I spent a lot of time on book talk, nature of the job. So he has invaded my eardrums and my life. And to be fair, Ordinary was definitely a song that gave me very strong Callan and Celine vibes when it came out. I think it gave every romantasy author very strong main character vibes, to be honest. He seems to have a knack for it. But yeah, no, definitely that one for those 2.
Thank you. Last one from me, sorry.
So we've talked a lot about the characters that you love and who you love the most, and you write beautiful characters that we fall in love with, but you also write characters that we deeply hate and want to shove off the edge of a cliff.
Alicia.
Which
Not
one
that
do
there's
you
one.
hate the most out of all of your books?
It is Alicia. And yeah, so I don't know if anybody's read The Bonding Trials, Denied, Devoted. I know kind of few of you have. God, she's a bitch. She's getting her own book.
Is she based on anyone you know?
No. I'm not pointing at you, it's pointing at me. I'm joking. So I've never actually done, so I have characters across all of my backlist that I've determined that at some point they're going to get a book of their own, and I call them my legacy books. Legacy because it feels like they're never going to get written, so they just kind of like hang around in the back of my head, but they will at some point. And Alicia from The Bonding Trials is one of those characters who was so vile that I thought, nobody is that vile for no reason, there has to be a backstory here, and there is, and it's phenomenal. But that's going to be, I don't know when that's coming out, but she's literally the worst character I've ever written, and she's so bad that she had to get her own story, because I was like, nobody could be that bad, possibly. So that's kind of how it works out in my head. But yeah, apart from that, I mean, there's been some nightmare. Matteo in the Crow series was a bugger. Yeah, apart from, I like to think everyone's redeemable. Maybe. My facial expressions are doing something wild right now. For anyone who can't see. But yeah, that's probably, I would probably say Alicia. She's definitely my most hated character. People make badges, which I've never had that in my life before. People were taking pictures and I was like, what is this? And they were like, it's the I Hate Alicia badge. And then they kind of picked up the pace because some people saw it and were like, well, I want an I Hate Alicia badge. And before I knew it, all these people were sending me photos and I was like, she's a fictional character! Don't wear the badges! But, you know, nice to have, you know, in that sense. But, yeah. Do we have any more before we finish off? I think we're good. Okay then, thank you so much. I was really scared that we wouldn't have any questions, and we had loads, so thank you so much. If I say pineapple, I'm not going to make it out the door. So I'm really boring, but I love, is it prosciutto and rocket? Yeah, love that, that is my vibe. To be fair. Other that, or just like margarita is fine. I have a child who's very beige. I feel like I've been eating margarita pizza my entire life at this point, so I've kind of got the taste for it. So there is Exhibit A, B, and C. Sorry guys. It's fine, they smile. There is a buffet going on. It is upstairs. If there's anything that we could do in terms of how to access, I wasn't aware it was going to be upstairs, but obviously space-wise, the guys have had to do that for reasons, which is absolutely fine. But just let us know if there's anything that we can do in terms of access. But other than that, I will be kind of lingering by here, having some water.
Okay, so I have got salmon fish cake, some sausages, chicken, spring rolls, and a wrap. It's a banging buffet here. Lovely choice, loads of choices for people. And to be fair, it was all free, so you can't complain. Hello everyone. Just returned home from the book event. I had an absolutely amazing time, met some amazing people, and made some new friends, which is always great in the little book talk world. It was a brilliant evening. There's lots of content to share with you. So there was a good Q&A, lots of questions were answered. because Evelyn doesn't just write fantasy books, there's loads of other genres that she writes about, she delves a bit into, and yeah, it's been fabulous. I got to have a one-on-one chat with her, learnt lots of new stuff, tried to pry out the date of the second one of this. It's called Stars Above the Never Sea. This is what the book was today, and she signed for me when I met her. She said, she wrote, "I'm so sorry" in it, because I told her that I got emotional at the end, because it's a very emotional book, but it's really good. 5 out of 5 stars for me. I've already read it. I read it on my Kindle last week, but now I've got a nice physical copy because I love a good book, and it's always best to have the book version if you like a book. But yes, she was a lovely, lovely lady, really easygoing, really great to talk to. And like I said, had a nice one-on-one chat with her. Couldn't really film that though. But I took a nice picture, which I'll insert here somewhere, of me and her together. Yeah, brilliant night. Got some some goodies. Got the book signed. She was also giving away this little print. Well, we had some little prints to take of the 2 main characters. If you've read it, you know that's Celine. That's Callan. A little bit on the back about it then. Little QR code if you want to check her out as well. Then we have these little soap bars, because in the story, without giving too much away, there's a soap they smell like. And I can tell you it smells like incense. It's a beautiful little gift, this one, if you can see that. Focus on there. A little tag says, "Tell me you love me, Celine Amorous," who's the main character in the book. Oh, it's so good. Love it, love it, love it. And then also I managed to get one of these little boxes which have loads of cards in. 78 cards, 78 books can complete the challenge. So there's all the gorgeous metallic edges with her initials on. And then it's loads of different cards. So for example, do they hate each other? Is that a trope in one of the books? Or is it, for example, anti-hero? Little tropes like that. Obsessed hero. Is there a betrayal? So you could just click off and tick which ones on the card list that we've got. But yes, lots of lovely goodies with that book. But it's such a great night. Thoroughly enjoyed myself. Like I said, made lots of new friends as well, who are into the same sort of books as I am. But I can say this one, the second part of this, she's hoping to bring out in December, depending on, spoiler alert, publishing. But hopefully we'll have a bit more content, because without giving too much away, this ends on a cliffhanger and I need to know the answers. So I was asking her about why she decided to end it like that, and she was like, when she finished it, she did say that she can't believe that she did what she did at the end. And I said, neither could I. Can't believe you did the same. However, yeah, it's just a great, great little evening out. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And I recommend anyone that's into like romance, fantasy, magic, fae, that sort of romance. She said she based it, you'll probably, if you've watched this whole vlog, you'll know that in the Q&A she said she based like a bit of it like Captain Hook, Tinkerbell. She's got that Disney sort of vibe, fairy tale vibe. However, thoroughly recommend this book. Not being paid at all to say this. I just love reading, and I was really, really excited to be invited to this and get a physical copy, because it's not a lot of times you can get physical copies of like independent authors. So it's really nice to have that there, especially assigned, and can go on my bookshelf along with my other favourite novels that I own. But yes, I hope you guys have enjoyed. A little bit different. Today's just me on my own, doing a night out on my own. Child-free, husband-free. It's been a lovely little evening. But I hope you guys have enjoyed, and hopefully I can get to do more content of this coming up in the near months. And yes, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. It would really mean a lot to our channel. And Thank you very much, guys.